Hi, host Eric here, host of Talking with Famous People. I'd like to spend a little time today talking politics in as non-dismissive a way as possible. I'm used to talking politics very dismissively, and that actually has to do, I think, with the fact that most people aren't ready to talk about politics. I mean, they aren't capable of explaining what they want, but they're very capable of explaining what they want. They're very capable of explaining what they think is wrong with the status quo. But they're not capable of understanding what law is, or government, or legislative action. They don't think of it as what it actually is, because we've been immersed in it our whole lives. So it's easy to put up with and accept and take for granted that which you've always put up with, accepted, and taken for granted. How to put this? When you have an animal that's been trained, or let's say SeaWorld, and to jump through things to get fish, then if that animal was trained from a very small animal, was raised by people for that purpose, then it's not going to see doing those behaviors as an assault on it. I won't see it that way because its identity was formed to respond to the phenomena it experienced in living in the world. And the phenomena it experienced in living in the world all had to do with hoops, jumping, getting fish from people. You know, that's the skills it learned. That's how it manifested its personality type. Whatever it is, right? So, people are the same way. When we look around us, we see a society that is well functioning in general. People, if you want to go someplace, you can get there. If you wake up on a Tuesday morning, need to check your email, very, very low probability that there'll be a brownout. Power won't happen. That when you get in and take a shower, that the water's been turned off again because the government can't keep the water on. Well, no, those things don't happen. But there's a mistake to think that because society functions well and has a lot of governance involved in it, or at least a fair amount, so much having to do with your car. But anyway, that somehow that makes it okay, or that they're causally related. Oh, the reason society is functioning well is because the government stepped in and regulated stuff. Back before we had government regulation, we had all these monopolies, we had child labor, we have blah, blah, blah. That's capitalism unrestrained. That's what we need government to do, is restrain capitalism, to hem in the free market such that they become more fair and more equitable. Well, yeah, we did need government to do that. Just as, we need a coach to rein in his player if he's, making illegal hits out there on the playing field, Yeah, the ref's gonna flag him, but we need the coach to step in there and go, yo, you can't act like that. Now, if that football player is still doing that as an adult, right, not on the playing field, but he's just walking down the street and decides he doesn't like the way some guy looks at him and goes and delivers an illegal hit, well, that's a whole different matter. That individual then needs to be jailed. But the point is, humanity's the same way. There was a time when we needed centralized power to prevent individuals from exploiting aspects of a controlled market, right? So the thing is, it wasn't that government stepped in to protect us from the free market. It's that the free market was inadequately endowed at the time, and humanity was inadequately evolved at the time abstractly, in terms of abstract perspectives, for its immune system to work properly. See, the free market has an immune system. Each individual person has the same immune system. And what I'm trying to do right now in this video, and in general when I'm talking to my liberal friends, because it's not like I got a bunch of Bible-thumping Southern Republican friends or something. I am a thinker amongst a bunch of feelers when it comes to politics, right? So the rationalist goes into the university and is pleased to discover himself inundated with abstract models. For rationalists who are not sufficiently contrarian, there's many, 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 many more reasons to master, mimic, parrot, and internalize those models than there are reasons to challenge them. But the problem is that we're internalizing as a population of, white-collar suburban kids, so to speak. We are internalizing something that's going to be a big problem for us. Namely, we're internalizing arguments that do not withstand scrutiny. Period. They don't withstand scrutiny. So then, later on, when you're saying, let's go Bernie Sanders, and you are challenged on the realities of Bernie Sanders, not on the feelings, not on the problem. Like, the thing is, if the liberal mindset would absolutely love if we could just talk about how unfair shit is in the status quo. We just talk about the problem endlessly, and just keep. The most important thing is that we agree that something needs to be done, and we can work out the details of what exactly it is the government's going to do to help here. But the government's got to do something because it's a terrible inequity. See, there's the problem. There's a beginning assumption that comes from having been infected with statism. And it is that government action is indicated by societal problems. So that are prescribed for societal problems, So it's like, well, okay, if we can identify a big social problem, maybe like poverty, homelessness, teenage pregnancy, whatever, then come on, guys, we as a group have a responsibility to handle this thing. And we as a group means the government, blah, 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 blah. Well, we as a group do not have a responsibility to handle that. Because we are not a group. We're not. Even the people you think agree with you, we're not a group. I'm certainly not part of your group. We do not have a responsibility to deal with those things as a group. You have a responsibility you're dodging. You're saying, I don't want to fulfill my responsibility to deal with this as an individual on an individual level. So I'm going to say, well, let's use violence instead. That's what is happening when you task the government with dealing with a problem like homelessness. Because what does the government need to do before it can do anything else? Remember that it doesn't make any money. It doesn't do any productive activity that generates wealth. It does not make wealth. It does not generate wealth. It only takes wealth. So when you talk about it redistributing wealth, it is taking wealth and then it's doing some stuff that you look at. So you don't see what it's really doing. It's just taking wealth. It's taking wealth and then moving some wealth around. Look, it's just like a casino. It's like a rake in a casino and a poker game. You don't ever want to play a cash game at a casino unless you are a really, really aggressive player. Because the rake will kill you. Every single pot, the casino takes a certain amount of money out of it. So think about it. Let's say you had a table. It requires additional infusions of outside cash to continue to exist. Without those continual, ongoing infusions of outside cash, the total amount of money in play reaches zero. And everyone loses everything. Because if you sit down 6 people at a table and say, okay guys, play until only one person has chips left. So, okay, now in this case, not everybody's going to be in zero. Play until only one person has chips left. Like a tournament. But if you did it in a cash game with a rake, by the time you eliminated those 5 other players, and each just started with $100, let's say $200. Let's say there's 5 players total, they start with $200 each. It's $1,000. By the time one player had all $1,000 worth of chips, there'd only be a couple $100 worth of chips left. Because the casino would have taken the rest of them. This is what the government is doing. It's saying, hey, look, we're going to take all of your guys' money here and put it in a big pot. We're going to do some stuff, and then we're going to put those chips back out that way again. But you didn't put all of them back, did you? It seemed like there were more when we gave it to you. Oh no, well, we took our rake. We took the rake. You see, it costs us, we have to hire people to put the chips in a pile in the middle. And then we have to hire people to push them back out to you guys. That costs money. And besides, not all of those chips were given back out to you guys, because some of them we decided to give to those people at that table over there. But they're not even in our poker game. Right? But they're running out of chips. They're almost done with chips. Like, you guys, this table's got a lot more chips than that table. So we put some of them over there. But here, you guys get these ones back. But that's kind of a lot less than what we gave you. Well, too bad. Okay, well, you know what? I'm just going to play at home with my friends. I'm not going to play this game with you here in the casino anymore, because you guys, I don't like the rules here at all. I just play at home. No, you won't. You're going to sit down and you're going to play right here, motherfucker. All of a sudden, the casino's not so nice anymore. In fact, they are not nice at all. They are, it turns out, armed criminal thugs who are only interested in the gambling part of things as a front for what they're really doing, which is armed robbery. When you think about the government doing something, I want you to think about a human being enforcing that law on another human being. And I want you to ask yourself, would I personally be willing to use violence to enforce the thing that I'm advocating for? unless the thing you're advocating for is negative rights driven, then you better be willing to say yes, or else you're lying to yourself.